Chapter 1. We are introduced to Richard in the woods of his hometown contemplating a tree being strangled by an unknown vine. We learn that Richard is very well versed in plant knowledge. We quickly find out that Richard's father has recently been murdered in his home, leaving behind a clipping of a plant. Richard feels compelled to search for its origin in the woods, and he has found it. Richard is supposed to be attending the initiation ceremony for his brother Michael to the role of first counselor for their region that very day. Their relationship seems somewhat strained, and his brother Michael is the one who is looking into their father's murder. Mysterious. Trying to remove the strange vine, Richard pulls at it and a thorn leaps from it and burrows into his skin. While tending to his wound, a large red creature flies overhead that Richard does not get a good look at. He worries about rumors that it has come from the boundary. Continuing to walk through the woods, he sees across a lake a woman in a dress being followed by 4 men.
Chapter 2. With his vast knowledge of these woods and their paths, Richard decides to take off and meet the woman before her assailants catch up with her. Upon reaching her, they have an intense connection. The connection of soulmates. The woman warns him the men tracking her are very dangerous, and he agrees to help her escape. Approaching the end of their journey, Richard and this woman are cut off by the 4 men suddenly showing up on the path ahead of them. The woman warns Richard, do not touch her when the men approach. The men charge, and Richard braces for a fight only to feel a sudden jolt of power emanating around them. Perhaps this mysterious woman is not a regular damsel in distress. Somehow they manage to escape with all 4 men murdered at the bottom of a cliff. An introduction. This woman's name is Kaylin. She explains that the men they had just fought are called a quad, which is a specialized group of assassins. Richard decides to bring Kaylin to his brother's party. Kaylin finally admits that both she and the quad have crossed the boundary from the Midlands into the Westlands. Richard is shocked. The boundary has been sealed since he was born, and the Midlands are a land of magic. Welcome back to Seeker and Confessor, a Sword of Truth podcast. This is episode 2, and I'm Frank.
And I'm Lauren. Today we will be going through chapter 1 and 2 of Wizard's First Rule.
Oh, yeah.
And today, if you are listening audio only, I'm sorry to let you know that you are actually missing out greatly because we are in full cosplay as Richard and Kaylin to commemorate their initial meeting.
Full regalia.
You could say that, yeah.
And I will.
Yeah, I'd like to think that we look pretty accurate.
No, you look pretty. I look rugged.
I wasn't saying we look pretty. I said pretty accurate.
I think you look pretty.
Oh.
As does Richard. Think that about Kaylin.
He does, and yeah. I'm like, does he say it that explicitly?
We'll get there, but yes.
That's Frank's favorite catchphrase. Frank even has a little detail, which he's showing the camera. If you are not watching, he has
spoilers for the first 2 pages of the book.
The whole thing is spoilers.
I'm joking.
Well, Frank has a...
this is a wound that I received in the forest.
He's drawn on with some blood, fake blood.
Uh-huh.
And added some black detailing.
For my protruding veins due
Richard's
to the
first
infection.
Big...
casualty.
Yeah.
One of many, I hope.
All right.
So I have a little bit of notes here for introductory stuff from going through the pre-chapter 1 stuff in the book. I don't know if we want to...
Like what?
Well, so I found the author... I found the illustrator of the cover.
Oh. Wow. Oh, wow. You weren't really...
I went in.
I didn't do that.
So first little note is that the maps, the map in the front of the book, mm-hmm. Terry drew that himself.
Oh, that's
and
cute.
I like that.
That's very nice.
It's not like the most detailed fantasy map, but there's something really like charming about it because it's utilitarian. It works.
I think it's a little artistic.
Yeah. The art on the cover is by Keith Parkinson. You can actually buy prints of this, and the first time reading it through, he drew almost all, I think, up until Chainfire of the arts.
I really like the cover art, actually.
Yeah, me too. And one thing that I really like about it, and one thing that's maybe troubling, but in my opinion isn't, is that usually when you read a fantasy book, there's like a big climactic moment that's depicted on the cover to like draw you in. Mm-hmm. And this happens in the first 2 chapters. This is from...
Oh, I don't think I was putting that together.
I know. Well, I stared at it a lot because I was thinking about it.
Are you sure?
As far as I could tell, yeah. I mean, unless it's a
I feel like they're doing
metaphorical representation of the journey. And...
I feel like they're going to be wandering around a lot of...
You're not wrong.
I don't know. I just feel... Maybe. It very well could be.
Well...
Did they pass over a waterfall? I don't remember.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. That's for the big battle.
I don't remember.
Well.
I literally... We read it multiple times too.
I know. Well, there was a cliff and water beneath, but yeah, no, maybe they didn't mention a waterfall specifically.
My feeling is that I just assumed that this was a depiction of the magical realm.
Oh, heading into the Midlands?
I thought this was the Midlands, not
well, we'll see.
Richard's farce, because it's looking very grand.
It is looking grand. The background was drawn with knife painting. I don't know anything about that, but I read the wiki on it. But yeah, it is rather grand. But when we get to the boundary crossing, I do remember it being rather grim. So
okay,
we'll see. We're not there yet. Other than that, anything from the acknowledgments you want to bring up, or?
Yeah, I just thought that Terry. His last acknowledgement was that he thanked 2 very special people, Richard and Kaylin. I thought that was very cute.
Yeah, that's actually really sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really, really nice. That had me going into it feeling very affectionately towards Terry.
And I think Terry feels very affectionately towards them. Like, as he's writing them, I feel like he loves these 2 characters.
That's cute.
And it's nice that he gave him a little shout out, you know?
I like that he thinks of it that way.
Yeah.
Like they have their own, I don't know, like sort of state of existence independent of Terry himself.
Like he's tapping into them.
Yeah.
Which, you know, in some way or another.
So the map, I actually did put a couple of things.
Tell me.
Well, you were correct in the last episode. You did say the Westlands.
I did. Yep.
But that's not the magic one. Which I think is what you were referring to.
Correct.
The fact that you remembered that at all, I didn't. I had no memory of Westland, Midlands, nothing.
It's just Westland, Midland. That just sticks in your brain. No, not your brain.
It didn't stick in mine.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting a little nervous about our arguments about when the mud people show up.
Oh, yeah.
Because I did notice on the map that...
Damn, it's like right outside the boundary, isn't it? It's like right there.
It's right on the...
Oh, no.
It's right on the boundary.
Damn, we should have wagered on this. I'd be collecting gold soon.
Just saying. So, you know, a bit of fear ran through me when I saw mud people so close to the boundary.
Yeah, get ready to read a couple chapters. We're going to have a whole mud people episode, probably.
Oh, maybe we'll dress up for that.
Maybe.
I hope they...
Yeah, we'll see how they dress.
I hope they describe them in detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just get into...
Chapter 1?
Well, before we start doing specifics, like, how did you feel first going back? Was it very familiar to you? Was the writing what you wanted it to be? Just general feelings.
Yes and no. Like, it felt it didn't feel like a coming home in a weird way. I feel like there's some books where you crack back into them and you're like, oh yes, this is what I like. I remember, this is what I love. It felt a little foreign starting, and a little plotting. And I think that Terry improves as an author as he writes, which is kind of odd.
Is that odd?
No, sorry. That's not odd. That makes perfect sense. As you do anything, you get better. But there's like a weird flow state you go into when you read these books.
Yeah.
Because they're so long and they're so like of one style.
Right.
That like, I feel like things that stick out as weird in the beginning start to like not matter as much. They just feel like comfy as you go on.
Yeah, that's true.
But starting back up.
A lot of authors are like that.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
It's kind of like when you... so weird comparison. It's like when you start watching Gossip Girl again. No, for real, because like you watch the first episode, you're like, this is so weird.
It's
like
not
this
how
is
people act.
so
It's
awkward.
like,
Why
yeah.
are they talking like this? It's very strange. But then the more
By season 3, episode 29,
you're like, yeah, absolutely, this is what it's
Chuck
like.
Bass would throw.
This is what the
a
world's
rock through the Waldorf Astoria banking office and
What?
curse his father's name. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like when I go into Gossip Girl brain, for example,
Yeah.
it's really hard. There's certain there's like this like in universe fiction style that if you just go along for the ride with it,
Yeah.
at some point, like you said, it becomes very like comforting, and you sort of learn the language of that world.
Yes.
As you go in, there's sort of like idiosyncrasies to the writing style and the way Terry presents things that initially kind of stick out as a bit weird here and there. But then at some point you just sort of start to like it.
Yes, that's true.
I would say Brandon Sanderson is very similar in that regard.
He absolutely is, yeah.
Yeah, the writing is, speaking of Brandon, I would say if I had to like tier out how good I personally would like label fantasy authors, like how well they write.
Sure.
I mean, it's like Tolkien's like, we're not.
Tolkien's God, and then let's talk about the mortals.
And then I'm like, I don't know, I'm just picky. Like, I would say, I don't know, I'm having a hard time deciding if I think George R.R. Martin or Robert Jordan writes better, but I also have read way more George than I have. I've only read the first Wheel of Time, so I'm not comparing it too much. Probably my instinct is to say George and then Robert, but maybe not. They're pretty close. And then Terry, and then I would say Brandon Sanderson's a worse writer than Terry Goodkind.
I agree.
And I'm not saying that to insult him. Nobody will defend Brandon Sanderson more than me, because I literally love it despite the fact that I think the writing's not good.
So in your estimation, then, where does like an R.A. Salvatore come in?
Him and Brandon maybe are like neck and neck.
Yeah,
me.
They're doing different things, but it's kind of like
but it's very different, but they're like equally as good and bad. I just prefer, I think Brandon's way, way, way more fun.
That's fair.
Personally, and I think, I don't know, there's something about, like, I feel like Brandon's focusing a lot more on, like, themes that I care about.
Sure.
And I don't feel like R.A. Salvatore's ever doing that.
Themes are not really what R.A. is writing about. It's more scimitars and magic items. And
right. I don't care about that so much.
it's like fantasy camp. But yeah.
Yeah, I would say, well, so far, I mean, based on 2 chapters, I think Terry, for me, is, he seems like, I feel like
he's punching above his weight. Like, I feel like he's doing a better job than you would expect.
Yeah, like, it's better to me than those so far.
Yeah.
Although it has some, I don't know, there are things about it, though, that are really weird and clunky.
Oh, I got a couple of notes here that are just like, dude, what were you thinking with that? And the editor left it in, so that someone liked it, and I think it's funny. But
yeah, but at the same time, I guess, really it just depends on, like, preferences, age, how picky you are.
Absolutely.
How much you read.
Yep.
Like, a lot of people probably don't care.
Yeah. Plus, we're doing this analytically for a podcast, so that's...
And I don't remember caring when I read it at 17. I remember thinking he was, like, a really, really good writer at that point.
And I think one thing that really inspired me about his writing, this dude loves the woods. And, like, we spend a lot of time traveling in these books, but, like...
Yeah,
Terry writes about nature in a way that's very impressive.
Terry must have these feelings himself.
Oh, he does. He built his house in Maine, like, by himself. Like, he's a very rugged individualist himself. Terry loves nature in a way that's very, he thinks it's beautiful. And I think that comes across.
Yeah, and I really like nature writing. I really like books where people know a lot about plants and stuff. Yeah. Which I don't know why, because I don't know anything about plants. It's not like a special interest of mine in any capacity, but like I love, it kind of reminds me of Outlander, not that you've read it.
I watched the show a little, yeah.
But like, I don't know, Diana Gabaldon, I think that's her name. She writes a lot of like really specific like
plant
herbs,
specific. That's
plants,
yeah.
medicine usage. I love it. I think it's so... I can't read... maybe it's because I can't stay focused on it when I try to read it in like just a textbook format,
Sure,
like dry.
yeah.
But when somebody like puts it in a narrative, I find it really interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's, probably the origin of education and learning and all that was woven into story a lot more.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in those days.
The caves.
The caves and the paintings. Yeah, Terry really, I think, has a deep love and appreciation for the natural world, and he sets a lot of this fantasy in the natural world, and I just wrote, like, write what you know. He clearly knows and likes, and I think it's fun because he's like, and what if some fantasy plants, too? Like, he's just...
Yeah.
He's in there.
Yeah, that's true.
And so is Richard, who knows every plant.
Well, I don't know that we touched on last episode. I don't think either of us remembered that Richard was a wood guide. I did not.
No, I forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't remember that.
Although, what is a woods guide? What does that mean?
Terry doesn't define it, but I would imagine it's someone who leads people through the woods in a way like he just knows it really well. So it's like if it's raining out and you're like, how do I get to Terrytown? I made that up.
Maybe that is what it is. I don't really know. I was like, is he like a park ranger? I think that's what I was imagining, but it has a very specific
well, yeah, I'm looking
label.
at it like a ranger, exactly, like an Aragorn-esque for this small, apparently peaceful woods of the Westlands.
Yeah,
Richard knows most.
I was correct that I said Richard had a best friend. His name is Chase. Confirmed.
Yeah, Chase.
Confirmed.
All right.
And you remember him now that you like.
Yeah, burly dude has 100 kids, wears knives on his chest. I think we didn't get to him yet, but now that you say
so
it.
he's a boundary warden.
That's yes. Okay, so he's like he's
So
like
I think
ice.
these are all like, to me they all sound like very made up.
Well, they are. Yeah. Well, Warden's not made
Ice.
up. Yeah, he's the keeping the filthy magic users.
I guess they had more reason to be concerned.
Yeah, because there's monsters and apparently devils or something.
Yeah, I don't. For anybody that maybe isn't familiar with the story and didn't quite pick up on it from our synopsis that we've given. The boundary it's not, in the first two chapters, it's really not explained too in depth.
No.
Terry's just like dropping it, like, figure it out. And the idea is basically like these people live in like normal worlds. There's somewhere in the woods called the boundary. It's scary to go to it. Mm-hmm. You don't want to, if you pass it, you die.
That's
and
pretty
they know,
much it, yeah.
Seemingly they know magic is on the other side.
Yes, and that it's like an area of land that is witchy, and then beyond that are the magical
boundary,
people that we don't deal with.
Yeah, and the boundary has been sealed.
Yeah, so you can't cross. That's the whole concept, is that you can't cross to or fro. I guess except for bad juju, like.
Well, no, I mean, what do you mean, to kill yourself?
Well, like, because why would you need a boundary?
That's what I was. What I was just about to say.
To keep people from going in, or to keep things from coming out. Things being like monsters.
Yeah, I was confused by that.
So anyway, yeah, it's.
But then I thought it was funny because you said that you thought Chase.
Yeah.
Betrays Richard.
Yep.
But
yep.
I think
I definitely mixed him up with the brother.
Yeah,
that's
it's
100%,
right. So
yeah.
Richard has a brother, Michael, which we forgot, and.
Yeah.
Reading it, it's not like I was like, oh yeah, I don't really. He must not be that important.
I think Michael might get got like immediately.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't.
I'm not feeling like Michael sticks around too long.
But then,
but
sometimes when I'm like, I'll like come if I'm doing like research setting up for the podcast. I'm trying to avoid spoilers as much as possible for myself because I want to have organic reactions. But I have seen like just like little things here and there about like characters. I think one was the big boobed sorceress you were talking about.
Yep, she's there.
But I am like, I don't even remember these people, and they're being listed as like major characters. So I definitely don't remember Michael.
Yeah, Michael didn't make it, I don't think.
But maybe I'll remember them as they start like doing things. The names aren't.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure Chase is a good man.
Chase is definitely a good man.
Right.
And I think he's not around much after this book, but he does come back at a certain point.
Yeah. I don't know.
But back on Michael, Terry
Terry
really is just like not trying to bury any leads here. Michael's a bad man.
He's horrible.
The text immediately. So Richard is roaming the forest, starting chapter 1, trying to find this vine because his dad left the vine in a small blue pot that Richard made for him when he was a boy.
That's sweet.
Because that's where he put messages for Richard when he was in and out of town.
Terry's a sentimental man.
He's a sentimental man. It felt like something he pulled probably from his own life. It's a sweet little detail. Maybe a little awkward because I wrote down like that first page is packed with plot details.
Yeah,
like every sentence is like.
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah, and I remember liking it when I first read it too. Like it did make me go like, oh, I want to like know more about this.
See what I think this is funny too because it's like a lot of writing, and especially a lot of fantasy writing, is breadcrumb trails, right? It's giving you a little bit of a MacGuffin that seems really cool, and then being like, you'll find out about that when I tell you, and you're like, oh well, I'm gonna follow this trail until I get my big payoff. And yeah, within this first page, I feel like there's like, well, we're starting 12 trails.
He starts a lot.
Terry's really good at giving you a thing that you're like, ooh, what the hell's that gonna be? And you're like, you'll find out in 1,500 pages.
Do they pay off is the question.
Some of them definitely. Some of them definitely not. But,
I don't
but that's fantasy,
yeah.
You know? But yeah, Michael is a bad man.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Richard's dad is murdered. So Richard's just wandering the forest, depressed, because his dad just got killed.
Is that the sense you got?
Yeah. I have a... Hold on.
Oh. He's bringing out the textual analysis.
He found the vine that he was looking for, and the text was, grief and
he
depression overwhelmed him.
And then he was, like, relating...
And that's, like, page 2.
The tree getting choked out by this vine to, like, his dad's murder.
Yeah.
As a metaphor.
And did you get the sense that, like, murder doesn't really happen here? Like, that seemed, like, particularly grisly?
No.
Oh.
Because even in our current world, if you knew, even if it wasn't your dad, if you knew anybody who was murdered the way they described it, which is like pools of blood, would that not be like really
you're right.
Shocking?
That would be shocking. And I know, I've heard of murder. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, I don't know. That didn't, I mean.
And it's your dad.
It didn't strike me as like.
So not totally out of the norm, but very upsetting to have happened to him. Obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you get the sense immediately that Richard's hot? Because I did. More textual analysis.
Well, that's hard for me to separate from my like previous relationship to the character.
That's fair. Yeah.
In my brain,
it could have been built up over time.
Yeah, Richard is factually hot to me. But that
actually hot to me.
I couldn't tell you where that began, where I started with that opinion. I don't know if it was in the first 2 pages or not, or if I just have been carrying that from his future deeds that I witnessed.
Yeah, true.
15 years ago.
True.
I don't know. So you think it was imparted right away?
Well, it's 2 things. I think Richard is shown to be sentimental, sensitive,
yes, true.
And shy, and like lacking a certain confidence.
Right.
But he is also portrayed as being very fit.
Yes.
Very thick, beautiful hair.
Yeah.
And very strong.
Which I don't understand how old he is.
No.
And they say that him and Kaylin are the same age, so if we can figure out how old one of them is, we'll know both. But they do not state...
No, he left home. He left his dad's home within a couple of years.
Right.
So we know him to be somewhere between 20 and 25-ish.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because he could have left at 16. And then maybe he's 20 years old.
Why do you think he left at 16?
I don't know. Boys in fantasy, they're staying home past 20? Like, probably not.
Ash Ketchum
over
here,
He's hitting the road at 13. Ash said, bye, Mom.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't. In my brain, I, like, picture him being...
a full man.
Like, in his 30s.
Yeah.
I think just because...
It's possible. I don't know. But Michael is now older?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that might just be because I want to think he's hot and I want him to be in his 30s because I think I wouldn't find him as hot if he was.
Do you feel like you and him would
20s.
get along a lot and like he'd be like a cool person to date? Like, is that like why you're like
a cool person?
He's like about my age and he's very handsome and.
I don't think it's going far enough that I'm thinking about like us meeting.
Fair. Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe one day.
Maybe.
So no, I don't know. It's just like if I want to picture him being sexy, he has to be probably like at least like 29.
Yeah. I like the idea that he's just shy of 30 because he does have that like lack of confidence, but he has like a
He honestly probably is like 23.
Maybe.
So.
Yeah. I don't know how long their journey is.
No, I know that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, is
Richard
he like
becomes a fucking man
right.
really quick?
Okay, but I think that might be part of it. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of how he comes across a couple of books in, and I'm like, he really seems like at that point, he's feeling like he's like 44.
Dude's like a king.
So I'm like, okay, well, he can't be starting at like 22 to get there, but
No.
maybe
it's fantasy.
I think I'm just projecting feelings onto him.
Maybe.
But yeah, anyway, we keep going off of this topic. Michael's really bad. His brother's horrible. Just a piece of shit. That's how he's presented.
I just wrote coded as bad.
I wrote, they are setting him up to be a bad guy, but it seems a little too obvious. But
Yeah.
maybe not. Maybe
No, I think it's the red herring that actually is the fish you want.
Which thinking, when I think of the Dark and Raw plot line, I'm like, that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he's working for him somehow.
No, well, I'm saying more along the lines of like, that seems really obvious what occurs there, but he does it anyway.
That's true. Good point.
I don't know how much Terry's concerned with subverting expectations.
Almost not at all. And what I thought was interesting is Terry, he had, what's the word? I can't remember it. He had dyslexia.
Oh.
And he never thought he could write because of it. And then he just started with this book. He didn't write anything beforehand. So it's kind of impressive. I think he was just doing it.
Yeah.
And then was like, I'm not too worried about tricking them I'm just writing a book. And then,
I think the lack of anxiety is kind of what helps you actually put out a lot of content.
Good point.
Right?
Yeah, I think so. I wrote a little sassy line about Michael. I wrote, Michael, my thoughtless brother who cares nothing for the woods.
Wait, does it say that?
No, but yes,
Oh.
not literally. That's not a quote.
I was like,
but,
what?
He does not like Zed. He does not care for Zed.
A red flag.
Thinks of him
right?
as a kooky old cloud reader.
But they do not mention that he's a cloud reader until chapter 2, in which Richard sees the cloud shaped like a snake, and then he's like, I have to ask Zed about this.
You're right.
He's a cloud reader, blah blah blah.
All right. So he's just a kooky old man at this point, and in 7 pages we'll learn that he also reads clouds.
Which I love, by the way.
Love it.
That's such a cute idea.
What, reading clouds?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, spoilers, we know he's a wizard.
Yeah, right.
We find that out. He's a wizard in the traditional sense, but also magic is weird.
Is Zed teaching us the wizard's rules?
Yeah, I think so.
Does he?
I hope the first one.
Yeah, me too.
I might have gotten spoiled, and I'm not going to say it until we get to it, what the first rule is.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not in love with it, but we'll get there when we do.
Okay. So we both really remembered that the vine and the thorn going into Richard's hand, as you so beautifully illustrated here, which makes sense because, well, first of all, it happens right away. Second of all, it's really graphic.
Oh, it's gross.
Which I didn't remember that. I thought it was more like just a passing, like, ow.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
no.
And then, like, he so slowly gets sick. No, this thing bites him.
It's burrowing into his body.
Yeah, it goes into his palm, or the back of his hand, right?
Well, you put it in the wrong spot. If not, I thought it was the back of his hand.
It's the back of his hand. Yeah, and then he tries to get it out with his finger, and it, like, squiggles away from him.
I don't like it.
And it's just, like, a mass of blood. And he was just like, oh, no.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this is really gross.
And then he does a little medicinal healing.
Of course.
Yeah. Tends to the wound. And then just goes on about his day, right? That's chapter 1, basically.
Well, he doesn't go on about his day. He tries to fix it. Then he sees, something big and red flying in the sky. What could that be?
What could it be? Alternate cover art might spoil it for you, but we don't have that here.
No.
So you're just going to have to wonder what a big flying red thing could be in a magical world.
Richard's very distracted by that, can't figure out what it is. He does think, could it be from the boundary? He has that thought.
He does.
He moves on, and then that's when he sees Kaylin across the lake
But she's not alone.
being tracked by
being stalked
by 4 big men.
Big scary dudes.
Yeah. And then we go to chapter 2. Chapter 1 was pretty short, actually. I don't know how we even talked about it for as long as we did.
It's like 3 pages.
It's not long. We were actually going to make this episode just chapter 1. And then we both read it and we were like, there's not much to say. We got to go to chapter 2.
Although we do have, he brings this point up, the trouble sires 3 children.
Oh, yeah, he does say that.
So the snake vine is the first child. The red shadow is the second child of trouble.
Clearly, Kaylin's
and the
third.
stalkers on the lake is the third child.
Right.
Yeah.
I should have said Kaylin's plight.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Not her herself.
No.
The chapter 2 starts basically with Richard being like, okay, that woman's clearly in trouble. I'm going to go help her.
Yep.
And I have a plan on how to get to her really quickly before those men arrive. And he begins to describe how he's going to do this. And it's just the most confusing. I did not follow it at all.
That's because you're not a woods guide.
Right.
If you were, you'd totally understand.
I just was like, what the fuck are you? I don't know, dude. Just do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Did you get the feeling that Richard, I don't know if Terry was trying to do this or not, because it seems like Richard starts really struggling to run and to do. Is there in any way, shape, or form with the red shadow and with how sweated he's becoming almost immediately that you think that he was trying to imply that Richard is tripping because he was bit by the vine?
I didn't cross my mind, no.
Okay, because I wasn't sure, because he does seem to struggle, and that could just be because he's getting sick.
I think that's what I thought.
Okay.
I think I was just a foreign magic body has entered him.
Non-magical body.
Right, has entered his non-magical body.
Yeah.
And maybe that's bad for you. And then I thought the psychological dilemma of the dad dying, the fact that he was dwelling on it. I'm trying to think, okay, I'm in the woods.
Yeah.
Somebody in my family was murdered. I'm thinking about I essentially went to this plant for that reason. It's connected to their murder, and now it's burrowing into my skin. Yeah, I think I'd be sweaty and feeling terrible as well.
Yeah.
I understand Richard's supposed to be a king of kings, but
he's not there yet. You're right.
I think that's warranted.
Getting sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that I didn't enjoy the descriptions of Richard woods guiding out and being like, I'm gonna climb this path, and then I'm gonna.
There's a lot of little things of if we step here, then
no, I need to really get
I'll let you have that.
Really get into that.
I'll let you have that.
That's after he meets Kaylin. I just was irritated.
Okay, already just getting to Kaylin.
Just
you're
his initial well, if I take this path, they won't get there faster than me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I get it. We're building characterization. We have to see how smart Richard is and how good at the woods he is.
All right, so sweat running down his back, shirt sticking. Richard reaches Kaylin. Those are quotes.
Listen, we don't need. You're injecting a lot of sexual imagery into this book as if we need to help it along.
Am I injecting when I'm direct quoting?
I'm just saying we don't need to even focus on that because it's gonna get.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to be even more annoying when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Trust.
Okay, so anyway, so tell me, what were these descriptions?
So sweat is running down his back, his shirt is sticking, and then he sees her. Mm-hmm. And she's hot.
Yeah, there's something about her shapely form.
Her dress, like, caresses all her curves.
Yeah.
It's made of some gossamer magic material.
Yeah.
It's simple yet refined. Mm-hmm. And he can just tell, without even saying a word to her, that she's so smart.
He says it a lot, how smart she is.
What a smart girl.
I really liked my favorite quote upon their meeting. Was that her eyebrows had the graceful arch of a raptor's wings in flight.
There you go.
I thought that was a really weird description.
Did you like it?
No.
No?
I did not like it. It's not that it doesn't, like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's definitely drawing an image that I can, like, make sense of. It just sounds so clunky, but, listen, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah.
Like, because Richard is so in his nature appreciation, that's maybe, like, the finest compliment he could give her.
That's fair.
I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. That's kind of strange.
Is Richard sapiosexual?
That's the
question.
That's the feeling I'm getting
And
of her intelligence.
I'm slamming that yes button.
I wish you had the soundboard.
Oh, I wish I had the sound. Ooh, you guys are in for a treat. When I get those buttons going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he gets to Kaylin. He's like, come with me. I could get you away from these guys because I know everything about the woods. And then this, like, really weird... I thought this was the most awkward thing out of everything that we read.
Tell me.
Was when he's, like, trying to, like, pantomime to her.
Oh, God.
So they're like... He's like, okay, I have to take her down the secret trail to get us to town to get away from the men who are tracking her. And then, like, they really go out of their way to be like, it's so weirdly long that, like, Richard is communicating with her via silent, like, pantomimes.
Yeah, signing in some sort of, yeah.
I wrote the whole thing.
Great, love it. Let's go.
Okay. Can you act it out for me?
I don't think I can because I tried.
No, you have to.
But I will try for you
Okay.
and for you.
In my mind, I would assume that they need to go fast. Mm-hmm. Like, fairly quick, right?
That's how it's portrayed.
This is dramatic. I understand they're going in a secret pathway. Richard feels confident they're not following. But I still think they need to go fast. So then this happening feels really weird. Mm-hmm. And you're going to act it out?
I'm going to try.
Okay, so he showed her that he meant for the two of them to step on the rocks to avoid snapping sticks hidden under the leaf litter. He moved some leaves to show her sticks hidden there and pretended to break them and cupped his hand to his ear. She nodded, understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Lifted her skirts with one hand and began to step up on the rocks.
Wait.
He touched her arm to make her look back again and mimed slipping and falling to let her know she had to be careful because the moss was slippery.
Oh, man, you're gonna fucking just watch out. Slippery moss. My dude's over here like, whoa. Yeah. Instead of hurrying, he's doing this. But
what?
We get the romantic smile back.
She does, yeah. So I was like, okay, I guess characterization-wise, what I'm supposed to gather from this, other than, like, Richard's an idiot, maybe, is that...
I wrote protective and sweet. But he's also an idiot.
It's just so bumbling and weird.
He is bumbling and weird.
Right
now. He will do a fucking 180 soon, but... He's
gonna become such a Chad.
Chad, like, in 10 minutes. But anyway.
Yeah, he's giving incel right now. I'm kidding.
Incel
you were, like, really upset on his behalf. But
he kind of gives me the I never talked to a girl vibes.
Maybe,
for the first two chapters. He just sticks to the woods.
Maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't know how Richard is with the ladies at this point. But anyway, I just thought it was really strange to picture them like, there's these men following, they're like, go this way. And then he's like, hey, stop. I'm gonna... Oh. Like, I feel like they would have just been better off with him being like, careful of the moss, like really low.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would have taken a lot less time. I would imagine that is less, like, making less noise and...
You know what it's making less noise than? My favorite bit of alliteration. I don't know if you wrote this down here.
I don't think so.
A raucous racket of some ravens. Terry, my guy.
You weren't, like, feeling it.
Raucous racket of some ravens.
Well, it didn't stick out to me. I didn't write it down, didn't remember it.
I put a sticker next to it.
Wow. Thanks for acting that out, by the way.
You're welcome. I'm here all week.
Yeah, so they are walking. They're getting close to the exit of the woods when suddenly, oh no, everybody's here.
Oh no, the German bad guys are here.
Yeah, I think the assumption is, like, were they kind of implying that this must have been by magical means because he was like, how could they have gotten ahead of us?
Well, yeah, I guess it's more of a, like, Richard just cannot figure out how it's possible, and the assumption therefore should be because
or is it just
because
they're crazy fast?
They could be crazy fast, they could be crazy jacked,
and they also, maybe they're good at the woods too. Richard didn't think about that.
No,
he didn't consider it.
No.
A fight scene ensues in which Kaylin, we get the first glance at her absolutely insane powers.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, and then Kaylin has, they say her last name, which
Amnel?
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't remember
Kaylin
that.
Amnel.
I don't remember anything
and Richard
about...
Cypher.
Which
now.
I keep calling him Richard Cypress.
Yeah. It's the woods.
It makes sense. It sounds...
Richard Cypress. He should have just leaned in.
Sounds good. I just, like, don't remember anything about Kaylin. What the fuck is up with her?
Yeah.
I don't remember anything.
She's there.
I don't remember her characterization. I don't remember who she's hanging, like,
See,
who
that's
she spends
curious
her time
because
with.
we do have chapters from her perspective. So I'm curious if Terry was unfortunately unable to produce the inside of a female mind so distinguished from Richard, so it all kind of felt like one perspective.
Possible, yeah.
But we'll see. I don't know that. I feel like I have a sense of her.
I don't. I wish I did. But I hope eventually I'll get one.
You'll get there. Yeah, so they absolutely nuke these bad guys.
Yeah, easy.
Easy
mode.
Richard runs up on one. He gets him good, right?
Well, that's because she's like, hey, they're going to come, don't touch me when they come to attack us. They come at them. Mm-hmm. She, like...
2v2, right? It's like
know.
Richard got two guys.
I just feel like she, like, explodes a ring of, like...
boom power.
Yeah, like... Yeah. Thunder power, and then they all get thrown. Everybody gets thrown back, including Richard, right?
Yeah, I think Richard's squaring up with one guy, and then they both get knocked down.
Right, and then Richard's with the one guy, and then he's like, bye, bitch, over the cliff.
He chucks him over the cliff, yeah. I think maybe with the use of the power, maybe, like, he takes advantage of it.
Well, he's definitely, like, building off of that. So, yeah, Richard kicks the one guy off the cliff. Mm-hmm. He sees one that Kaylin... did something to, who's just, like, ripped apart, right?
No. That's not what happened.
Oh. What happened?
Kaylin's power is not really revealed, but it is shown. And it seems to have this sort of concussive and potentially mind-controlling effect.
I don't feel like that's obvious
It's
at
not.
all.
No, it's not really. But something weird happened, and Richard's
sure.
kind of like, what the hell was that? But he also now has gotten his dad killed. He got stabbed with the vine. And then during this fight, he gets his head smacked pretty hard against a rock, I think.
Why are you saying Richard got his dad killed?
No, I'm just saying things that have happened to Richard. Richard did not get his dad killed.
You blame me?
I'm sorry. Actually, in theory, that probably is true. But we don't know that at all yet. It's probably Richard's fault that Richard's dad, who is not his dad, got killed.
It's not like he didn't take any actions that, right? It's just his existence. His mere existence.
Yeah, just literally being alive. Very Luke Skywalker. Uncle Ben getting... No? That's Spider-Man. Whoever Luke's uncle is. We're off the rails.
Yeah, I guess I feel like... it's hard because you're projecting a lot of... Like, you, like, really confidently know what Kaylin's powers do, except for the fact that you said that she has to fuck people to have them tell the truth, which I'm pretty sure is not true.
So no, I'm sorry. I now remember. She can touch people to do the power, but she cannot fuck people without discharging the power.
Yeah, I think that was the conclusion we came to.
Yeah, maybe we did already.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But
yeah, no, she doesn't have to fuck people to use her powers.
That would have made it really interesting.
Yeah.
But you really remember the limits of her power, and like, for example, I don't.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like I'm trying to explain to you as a reader who doesn't really know. Mm-hmm. I do know, but it's still kind of working on me what he's trying to do, I think. To create a vague sort of... Yes. Yeah, some I would assume if you really did, if you knew even less than me, this would really work. I think it's really vague. You are sort of like... I literally didn't think, oh, she made that guy kill that man. I thought maybe he killed him. Well, because we need to discuss the fact that they're part of a quad, which is like... It's hard to explain my thought process. I need to go into that. Okay. That's listed right there. Well, I thought that the quad was actually very cool. And the second I read it, I was like, oh, fuck, I remember that. You think it's very cool? All right. Tell me why. Because I just wrote quad ... Quad just means four, and it's four guys. I know that. So why is quad cool? Tell me. Because I think the concept of like a little mini assassin squad that all have like different specialties. What's that like concept in video games where like, you know, like people are good at different things? Yeah, like in Fire Emblem. I don't know what you call it. Specialists? No. I feel like there's like a technical term. I feel like there's a word for it. I think it's cool to be like, oh, I'm assuming this is how it works. That like each person they're all using different weapons. They seem to all have different things they're good and bad at. And then you put all four of them together and the quad is like, you can't beat them because they got their bases covered. And that the sense is a cool idea. They are specifically sent to kill confessors. Oh. She does almost let that slip to Richard. And then ... They kill people, and she almost said what she was. Oh. But she's not there yet. But why couldn't you could use them against? Well, I guess they're specialized. So anyway, I thought that was cool. But I was like, oh, okay, they're clearly like very trained. My thought was like maybe if they like fail the mission and one dies, they all gotta go. Oh. Yeah, like, you know, when people have cyanide pills and it's sort of like, oh, if you don't... I was literally like, they're like, oh, without all four of us, they could take us and torture us to give them information about where we came from, and we'd rather die. That was what I thought. You've put a lot on these four blonde men. I thought... But that might be true. I don't remember specifically. No, it's definitely not. I'm pretty sure you're right that she made them do it. Right. Oh, I see. So I'm saying, though... Oh, you thought... As somebody that doesn't... The dude attacked the other dude because once one of them dies, we gotta just self-immolate? Yes. Why wouldn't they try and finish the job and then kill themselves? Like, what? Without the one they got, it's over. Like, that's an absolutely wild assumption. I thought if they don't have all four of them, they can't do it. So, like... That's a terrible design. Just call it a day. Guys, one down, fucking end it. Nope. I thought there's four guys to have more attempts to do the job. Two were dead, so I was like, the other two were like, if they know she's powerful, they're like, we can't do it, and we can't give the information out because this bitch can make them talk. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right? No, she can't. But that's we'll get there too. Wait, what do you mean? Why not? It's not useful as an interrogation tool because it kills the person, like wipes their brain. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I'm pretty sure she. I feel like that was like a plot point at one point. Like, oh, I could use my power, but then we won't know what they know. Well, I think for somebody, if you're like, they can't die afterwards, then no, you can't. But if you don't care if they die, then why not? True. I don't remember 100%. Okay, I don't know. In my brain. Yeah, your brain. In my brain, she can't. That's a weird conclusion. in my brain, she can make them tell the truth, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, if 2 are down...
You know why you think that?
Why?
Because she's a confessor.
Yeah, that makes sense, though.
You gotta confess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the sort of truth.
It makes sense. It makes so much sense.
But that's not where Terry went with it.
No, you're lying. That's where we're going.
We'll see. Yeah, no, maybe it is that you can know everything they knew, but then they're dead after that.
I have no
Maybe
idea.
that's the
I
problem.
thought maybe her power was that she could make them tell the truth, and if they were like, who sent you, they'd have to tell her, and they were like, if 2 are dead, we can't kill her, and we also can't tell her who we're working for. Let's die. That was what I thought maybe was occurring.
God, yeah, maybe.
I don't think so, but I'm just saying.
I don't think so either.
As somebody that's like not, I don't remember that much. That seemed like feasible.
Okay, I get that.
I think it's vague. I think you can't really tell whether Kaylin's powers eviscerated this man or if she was making them kill each other. I don't think you can tell.
No, and Richard certainly can't. He doesn't know what the hell happened. In fact, he's so surprised after when she tells him she's from the Midlands, because that means she came from the magic world.
He seems really frightened by it.
He does.
Like, of the Midlands in general. But see, I was
that
like...
tracks.
Yeah, it does. Maybe. I'm assuming they must have, like, heard all these horrifying, like, tales about it or something.
Probably.
Because I'm trying
Since
to
they were
understand,
kids.
if you told me, oh, over there... you tried to tell me, oh, over there, there's magic. There's no part of me that wouldn't be like, I need to know everything about this. I obviously want to meet a beautiful woman who came from the magic world.
Yeah.
There's just, he seems much more scared of it than intrigued by it.
Definitely.
And I want to know why.
I'm sure we'll find out soon. We gotta figure out Chase and the warden and the boundary, and yeah, there's definitely a lot of fear as the number one tool to keep people the hell out of the boundary.
Whose fault is that?
Politicians.
Like
Michael.
like fucking Michael.
Scum. What is he? He's gonna be the chancellor or something?
The first counselor.
First counselor. Yeah, it's a lot less imperialistic.
Yeah. I don't know what it means. They clearly have a whole system of like government and society here that is different than ours.
And we will explore almost none of it.
Really?
Yeah. We hit in the road stat, I think.
Oh.
But anyway.
Well, and then I feel like I had one more thing I wanted to mention.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Just the fact that I think it's really weird that Richard's big plan is like, because he's supposed to be going to the party. Is it? I don't know if it's an initiation ceremony or a party. He's trying to go.
It's probably both. You know, they
Yeah.
probably got cold cuts and stuff. And...
Right. Maybe some peniala vodka.
Yeah, they got penny.
In a tray.
Absolutely. Yeah. Prepared by non-magical means, obviously. But
So-
they boiled that water.
He's like trying to, I don't know. Anyway, they kill all these people, and then Richard's like weirdly being calm about it and being like, we gotta go to the party. I'm just gonna bring her along.
Michael will know what to do.
This woman dressed in this garb. I'll bring her to the party and we'll tell Michael about all the dead bodies. It'll be fine.
I found a magical fashion model in the woods. Killed 4 people. Let me go talk to my brother.
At his like big day.
His coming up ceremony. Yeah,
Like-
you know.
I'm curious to see how that pans out, because that's a really weird plan.
I'm telling you, not well, but we'll see. I don't feel like it's going to go well.
Well,
But I forgot Chase existed, so I don't think
seeing as Michael's such a jerk,
bad coded.
I'm guessing he's not going to help.
The last thing that I have... So Richard's down bad. His descriptions of Kaylin are... He's just immediately love-struck. Which is kind of cute.
Because down bad to me, I guess that's inappropriate. It's like, he's saying, like, we're soulmates. Like, we're in love.
Yeah, you're down bad for your soulmate, I think, right?
Down bad has different connotations to me, but...
Explain it.
I don't think I need to.
Go through the connotations. No, so I feel like he's in love immediately.
I think they're
which is cool.
They're kind of suggesting that she is too. We don't really know.
No, we don't really know. So I don't think that's what I kind of thought was interesting. She's very cautious. And that's why when Richard hits her with the F word, friend, towards the end of the second chapter.
Oh yeah, he's like, we're friends.
well, what if I show up with my friend? And she's like, friend? Do you really mean that?
Well, yeah, we're clearly supposed to think like, oh, she's been so sheltered and she's lonely and all of those things.
No, definitely.
But wouldn't that make her like maybe even more susceptible to falling in love with a random man on the road?
Being sheltered and stuff?
Yeah.
Probably.
No, I mean, she's clearly like, she's got her walls up.
Those are some tall towers.
Richard's gonna scale them.
Oh, easy.
No problem.
Chad high jump, no problem. I think that covers chapters 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Here we are. Are we signing off? Or?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, well.
Not, we're right in the beginnings here.
And we have a lot to say.
Well, at some point we'll probably do one chapter
when they get a little meatier, right? That's
ago.
But
I think
we'll not.
See. It is kind of frustrating having to only read 1 or 2 at a time. I'm not enjoying that.
No, I want to keep going.
But so that's a testament to Terry's writing, right?
Yeah, I agree.
We keep catching ourselves trying to say things about the chapters. And we got to save it, bitch. We got to save it.
I think that it's nice that we build up this little bottle of fun and we get to bring it here. So, yeah. Well.
All right. Well, I think we covered chapter 1 and 2 probably far more in depth than we needed to.
Extensively.
We will be back maybe for just chapter 3, probably chapter 3 and 4, depending on how much occurs in chapter 3.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
Hope that you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, so this is Seeker and Confessor signing off. I'm Frank.
I'm Lauren.
Peace.